negative impacts both. That's the balance that needs to be created. Okay, or it can be all positive, but it cannot be negative in any case. Okay, so that's where this all comes into place. That any change you bring into the system should actually, uh, you know, brought into the system in such a way that it should not disturb the current state of operations. Okay, so what change management is used, why, and why it is used to increase the availability of systems, assessment of change scope. You have to understand why you are doing the changing and what basis this change is gonna impact and where. Okay, balance between cost and value, or cost and value. Now both are two different things. Cost is only the commercial part, whereas the value is utility and warranty both. So that's why you got impact and value. This term comes up again and again. Okay, it's a very important term. Better understanding of change on AWS infra and its value observation at client side. So if you do a change, how it's going to benefit the customer. Okay, that value at customer side should also be very much understood. Better planning and reduce the elements of surprise. Meaning, if you do a change, it should be well communicated that this is the change we are going to do, and at this time we are going to perform the changes, and so services are going to be impacted. So that communication has to go in and out on a regular basis for every change, so that everybody is informed about the change. They should not have any surprise that it was working fine a few minutes back and now it is not working. If you communicate that in an effective manner, problem will not be there. Okay, I'll tell you one of the very recent examples. Yesterday I showed you an RCA, right?
Yeah, sir.
In this RCA, the problem was that ERP server was stopped during the planned downtime of another set of servers. Okay, one of the Sahaj customer production servers, which was not planned to be in the downtime, was actually given an unplanned downtime. Why? Because the communication was very poor from our side. Whenever we are supposed to do a change, we have to rely a lot on our communication factors. Okay, all changes should go by communication mediums. Otherwise, customer is going to escalate for sure. Okay, any enterprise level customers, they would accept that, they will expect that whenever we are going to perform a change, we have to send an email 3 days back, then another email, one day back, then another email before starting the change, and then during the implementation or during the implementation of change, even then you have to send emails, you have to send communication that okay, this server is now up, I'm going to proceed further with next server. That server is done, I'm going to perform change on the next server. So all that communication has to go without any fail. That will actually ensure that most of the problems get resolved automatically. Customer might say, okay, don't do, please wait. Okay, the impact is less. That's where the communication is a major important factor in our business, and it's one of the most fragile as well, because the communication part from Winfrey side has been very poor, very poor. Okay, especially from the technical side. From management side, it goes on regular basis, but from technical side, while performing the changes or while performing any duties or responding to the customer, there's a fear factor. I don't know why. People fear updating the tickets. People have a fear in communicating or sending email to the customer. People have a fear while saying that we are going to perform this activity. Why? What is the need to be fair about, to be feared about? No need to fear. What can the person do if you're going to tell them that I'm going to perform this activity at this time? If you plan it well, what can go wrong? What's the worst that could happen, right? So this was one of the major factors when this all happened, and we have to give an RC an apology that it was given an issue. Okay. That's where the communication comes into a major factor here. Okay, and that reduces the element of surprise. A surprise is never good for any organization. Surprise is never good for the organization. Why? Because what surprise does is that there's no happy surprise. Okay, that everything started to work automatically. It does not happen that way. Everything might go down automatically. That's a different case. But there's no happy surprises in our business. Okay, at least I have not seen it in the last 20 years of my career. That everything started working automatically. No, it does not happen that way. Okay, so that's the major factor. That's where we have to work on. Now, types of changes. Types of changes are standard, normal, and emergency. Okay, standard changes are usually the pre-approved. Okay, what are the pre-approved changes? Like provide me, reboot my system. It's an approved change, something that you can do based on single email. Okay, so our services request, you don't need any approval for that. These are pre-approved changes. Or increase disk space, or increase the CPU, and change the instance type. These are basic pre-approved changes that anybody can do based on standard approvals. If in case it is already approved by management, you don't have to go again separately and raise a CR and then take the approvals again and again. No, it does not happen that way. Okay, basic changes can be done without any approvals. Okay, change basic configuration, not the security permissions, but basic configurations. Okay, add one more EBS volume. This is approved by this so and so approved authorized approver. That authorized approver should be there, obviously, and then you take it forward. Simple. Okay, normal changes are which have a high risk or medium risk. Okay, but impact can be both medium and high. Okay, these are normal changes, meaning it should have a 4-stage approval, a 2-stage approval from your 2 stages from customer side, 2 stages from Minfi side. Okay, it might take 2 to 3 days to get implemented. That's how it's supposed to. Okay, but less than 3 days, not more than that. Next comes the emergency change, where the things are not working as expected. Okay, and things are not. You have to change them immediately to bring the servers up or bring the services up. That's where the emergency changes are, required. So these are supposed to be taken in 2-stage approval, one from customer side, one from management side, Minfi management side. If the both have approved and it's an emergency, and then you go ahead and finish the change as soon as possible. Okay. Any questions so far?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No questions? Okay.
Sir, instance termination comes under what, sir?
Instance termination is a normal change.
Okay.
It's a normal change. It cannot be a standard change. It cannot be a emergency change.
Okay.
No, nobody would like to terminate the instance. No. Even if you have to terminate, you take an AMI, keep it safe for few hours, couple of days, and then you remove the AMI. But you retain the AMI for at least 24 hours, 48 hours, in case it needs to be restored. So that's how you should actually terminate an instance.
Sir, as you told that instance upgrade is standard change, so you're telling
like approve if it is pre-approved. If it is pre-approved by the management, say Ritayan calls up and says, and Ritayan sends an email that please upgrade this instance. This is approved. Please proceed. He is the authorized approver, right? So if he has authorized, if he has approved it, you have to just send an email to management and do it.
As of now, we are updating CR even for that. So upgrade and
no CR, it will be there. It will be a CR because of our issues. This is how it should be. This is the best case scenario. This should be there because our commercial team is not directly working or linked with our operations team. So when we do some changes as a pre-approved change, the commercial team comes in and says that my RIs have been disturbed and this has happened, that has happened. So this has to be improved, yes. But as a best practices, as a part of best practices, there should not be any delay in doing such things. Okay, whatever makes our customers' life easy should be taken up as a priority.
Okay.
Getting my point? So
Yeah.
if it's an emergency change, so you can take it as an emergency change in that case. You take an approval, you already have an approval from management, from customer management, inform everybody in the Minfi management side, including Ravi Kiran and accounts team and commercial team, and do the upgrade. One email is not going to cost you anything. We are anyway sending 100 plus emails that are of no use. You send one email that actually makes some sense. That's all. Right. Okay. So Lokeshwar. Lokesh?
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Can you please define change? What is a change?
Sir, change is something which we are changing a particular thing from a existing infrastructure or application.
Okay, perfect. Hemant. Hemant.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Benefits of change, please. Benefits of effective change management. Give me two benefits of change management.
Okay, sir. Like benefits of change management is diverse the cost of change. Hello.
No.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. And like the changes happen in alliance and like support in business support.
That was the first slide I took. What is the benefits of change? Pay attention, guys. Pay attention.
Increasing availability of system.
What else?
Better planning and reducing element of surprise.
Exactly. Perfect. Okay.
And cost impact
Okay.
and value.
Minimize the possibility of change failure.
Aja, kaun bola ye?
Hemant only, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Me.
Hemant only, sir. Arey, wow. So what do you? Okay, we'll come to the failed change. We'll come to the failed change.
Okay.
Section. Okay. So Manikanta. Money is counting. Money is busy in counting money. Yeah. Manikanta. I don't know where he went. Okay. So types of changes I'm repeating again: standard change, normal change, and emergency change. Okay. Not every change can be an emergency. If you're taking everything as emergency change, that's a bad habit. It's going to cost because you will not know why this change was. You are not doing the complete study when you are doing a ECR form. You have to fill up a CR form. That CR form has all the details. I'll share the template of CR form that we already have. And I think our PMO team also should have a template ready for CR. Okay, if not, then they can come and ask. I know I have given one CR form template to Krishna Kumari long time back. Okay, that was long time back though, so she should be having it. Points to ponder. Okay, any change to an infrastructure must not occur without a change request. Okay, what is a change request? DMAIC. That is deinstall, move, add, install, configure. Okay, anything that is not as per not as per standard practices, go ahead and ask to raise them a CR, because something that is getting changed might or might not impact the existing system. You don't know. A study has to be conducted on that. So that's how changes are to be recorded, meaning with a change request. A CR form should necessarily have a rollback plan. Okay, it has to be there because, like a couple of days back, somebody terminated an instance. They didn't take an AMI before doing that. Okay, and it resulted in a massacre. It was a catastrophe for us. Okay, why? Because the change was considered as a taken up too lightly. That okay, yeah, I'll do it. So what? And it resulted in deletion of a production instance, termination of a production instance without any checks in terms of termination production or any anything for that matter. EBS volumes, nothing was there. It has gone up in the clouds. Nobody can catch it now. It has to be rebuilt. So that's the impact of a wrong change implementation and without a rollback plan. So rollback plan is underlined and in bold, is very much important before you do any change. Take up an AMI. It's not going to take much time of yours. Take up an AMI, rename it properly, and do whatever you play around with it in a change window. No problem with it. Okay. But that's how you actually save customer and save min fee. Okay. So any change cannot happen without a reason. Just that I want to do this doesn't mean that it's a change request. No. There has to be a reason. It has to be an incident or a problem or a change request itself, a change requiring another change. So it is not, it can be part of event that, okay, some event is causing again and again. So you raise a problem management ticket for that, and then problem management triggers the change management. Okay, not vice versa. Change management does not come directly. Okay, it has to be routed either event through event, incident, problem, or change. Okay. In an ideal scenario, ECRs are logged as a corrective action for any incident rather than a preventive one. Meaning, say there was some outage in a system. So you log an ECR to upgrade the instance and do some configuration in some load balancer, whatever. Okay. Now you take it up as a corrective action when it has already happened once or twice. Then you do it as a corrective action, not as a preventive action that it will not occur again like that. Okay, just on a preemptive on your thought process that okay, fine, if this is working, then we should do something like this. It should work. It should not be like that. Okay, it should come up as a corrective action of a change request, of a problem or of an RCA or something. Okay. Change windows needs to be set up and communicated for planned changes. Communication is the key factor here. Okay. Bi-weekly CAB meetings. I don't know whether you are having CAB meetings or not. I mean, it should be driven by the ops lead and PMOs. So you should have a change management meeting at least 2 to 3 days in a week, so that you can review all your changes and then you can take it forward as per the best practices. Changes are approved, reviewed, and then implemented, communicated and then implemented. Okay. Change duration should not exceed a stipulated time. Meaning, if a customer is raising change request on a regular basis, say, bring up these 5 servers, perform so and so changes, and every, for 1 week do this. It is not a change. It is a project. Why they are doing it? Because they are trying to save money. They are going to perform the project as a part of change. Change request is free to the customer, whereas project is not. That's why they try to merge these two things and bring it up as a change request rather than as a project request. If it's a project, they have to pay as per the rate card. But if they are doing a change request, it's part of support. So there has to be a well-defined structure. Okay, whenever you are doing a change. But it's very bad for Minfy as an organization if customer is asking for projects to be done as a part of change request. It's a revenue leakage. Okay. project manager will give special attention to customer-facing changes, testing, rollback, which help in reducing emergency changes and increments in planned or normal changes. Meaning, our PMO team is going to be directly linked with all changes now. Okay, so the PMO should actually have a full visibility of what the change is all about, why it is being asked for, who is going to work on it, what is the rollback plan, what is the criticality of that change, what is the scope and impact, what is the risk. Okay, is it a high risk, low risk, medium risk? Okay, and then push everything as a normal change rather than as an emergency change. Okay, we have to try and reduce emergency changes as much as possible. Okay, complete risk and impact assessment, configuration updates, record tracking, validation of test results, approvals, post-implementation review are a part of all changes. Okay, meaning that whenever you perform a change, it has to be taken up along with a full and complete documentation of the change, that who requested it, why it was requested, and what is going to help achieve from this change, what is the success factor of this change. If you are going to perform this change, what are the resultant or expected outcomes of this change. Okay, all that has to be recorded and before implementation tested, communicated, and then confirmed and closed. Okay, so that's what is part of PIR. It's called post-implementation review. A PIR is done for usually the failed changes. Okay, you cannot do it for all changes; it's waste of time. But if a change has failed, then PIR has to be conducted. Okay, what went wrong, where it went wrong, how can we further prevent such reoccurrences of the same failed change, something like that. Okay, risk of failure in case of forced emergency change is to be owned by customer. So if a customer is saying that I'm saying that I want you to do this right now, do it, get it in writing, sir, risk is all yours. It has not been evaluated yet, risk is all yours. I'm going to do it. Are you fine with it? Yes, I'm fine. Please go ahead and do it. Do it. It's their headache. Okay, I'll fight it out. If I have the communication in place, I will fight it out with the customer, no problem. Okay. Any risk, and risk can be of people, process, technology, process, partner, anything. If the change is failed because of a force, when customer is trying to enforce things, if it goes bad, don't come and cry. Okay, it's my very simple statement to any customer. Change implementations are usually scheduled on weekends. Okay, there has to be a change lockdown period that we are not going to accept any more changes for, say, next 2 days. Why? Because the team who is going to perform the changes are busy with already pre-scheduled changes. We cannot have any more schedules for this week, something like that. So usually when you receive a change request either by Tuesday or by Wednesday, you take it by Thursday and close it for anything, and that implementation should happen between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so that by Monday onwards everything is fine. Okay, but it doesn't mean that they come in on Sunday and say do this right now. It will be done by Tuesday only or Wednesday only, or by next weekend only. That's how it should be done in an ideal scenario. Okay, so now in such cases, customer has to be educated. Meaning, customer education also is a major part of a KRA for project manager and account managers. Okay, guys, if you are facing any challenges or any questions, please ask immediately. Stop me, because this is a very important factor.
Sir, in emergency change, you said as there is risk and all, so should we write one mail to customer like there is risk involved, or how should we frame it?
Repeat what exactly?
Sorry?
Repeat, sir.
In emergency change, you told there might be a risk from the customer end. Like customer has to take that risk. So how should we frame that, like in mail?
Yes. See,
That
what are the risks you have to highlight? That's sir, we have not analyzed, the team has not analyzed this change. What are the impacts of one change? Say today you want to change immediately some values on some load balancer configuration. We have not tested that. Okay. Or you want to upgrade base OS version. Okay. From so say 12 SP1 to 12 SP3. Without testing, you cannot do that. You have to test it first. Right? That's what is the key factor. You have to test it first. And once you start, when you test it, only then you should proceed. Yesterday, Abhishek has done a very good job. He just sent an email. I'll just tell you what he has done. This was yesterday's activity that he has done in the late night. Is Abhishek there? Abhishek, you're not there? He was working very late night, I know. So must be sleeping. Okay. So what the change that he done, he took a test instance. We have taken an AMI of the HANA dev server and we launched a test server. He done the changes on a test server first. Okay. Upgraded the OS version from 12 SP1 to SP3. Okay. Installed necessary drivers, compiled them without facing any issue. Upgraded the instance size from R3X large to R5X large. And we are now successfully able to upgrade the instance type. So he has done a testing on a test server first. That's exactly how you should do it. Okay. Similarly, patching, monthly patching activities. We first, those who are involved in patching activities of Shrey, can you please raise your voice? VFS Shrey. What is the process of patch update in Shrey environment? Can anyone tell me? Parashram.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
How do you upgrade? How do you do monthly patches? What is the process to do it? Approach.
So patching like we haven't did till now for Shrey account.
Okay, I'll tell you. Forget about Shrey account. Any account for that matter, if there's a monthly patching activity on production instances, we don't do it on production instances immediately. We first do it on test environment, test and dev. Okay. Say patches are released in the first week. In second week, we perform patching on test and dev environment. Okay. For that also we take AMIs, then we do it. If it's work fine, we remove the AMIs. Simple. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Next, when the test results are clear that yes, go ahead, management approves, customer side approves, then we proceed with production environment with proper communication in the next week, in the following week. Before that also we take an AMI, we do the testing, and then we proceed further. Correct? That's
Yes.
how it should be done. Okay. Hey, it's not effective service operations. Sorry. I used yesterday's slide. Okay. So, what are the stages? You raise a change request. The change request is evaluated. Okay, it is reviewed on impact, effort, priority, risk, cost. Change authorized. It is approved. Okay, it might be deferred. Means you don't do it this week, we do it next week. Okay. So that needs to be taken up. Then identify the impacted items and dependencies of those changes. Develop the solution for that. Test the solution, meaning you develop the what needs to be changed and all script needs to be prepared or something like that. Prepare that. Coordinate for release and deployment and downtime approvals. Because whenever you are doing the change, you need to have a maintenance window in place. Am I clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
समझ में आ रहा है? Is anyone able to understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है. Coordinate for release and deployment and downtime. Say you are going to implement some patches or some changes next week. You have to inform it today that on Sunday you are going to perform certain changes. Then by Friday send another email that Sunday this is going to happen. You have to keep the customer informed about what is happening, right? So do not hesitate to communicate, please. Notify the stakeholders, deploy the change, verify the change, again notify, and then close. Okay, so communication is a major factor here, because you are communicating sorry, guys, I have a very bad throat here, speaking a lot. So what are the factors that actually involve communication? Change, raising a change request, then review and authorization. This is a part of communication. Okay. Then coordination itself is a communication part. Notification and you see number 8 and 9 are communication. Okay. Verification and notification, again, it's a communication part. And then close it. So communication plays a major part in this. Okay. Any questions so far?
Good morning, sir. So, can you explain point 5 again?
Identify the impacted items and dependencies.
Yes.
Say you are going to perform a storage S3, some bucket updates, some configuration updates, or if you are going to perform an upgrade on the instance type or NVMe disk or something, R5 to R3, R3 to R5.
Okay.
Any such changes, what are the impacted items and dependencies? You have to identify that. Say, for example, it's an SAP environment. You've got your SAP router, you've got your SAP DB, SAP application running in an environment. If you're going to perform some changes in dev environment, it should not impact the UAT and production environment, right? So all such things have to be taken care of. It has to be reviewed. And what can be impacted needs to be checked. If you are making some changes in, say, some specific administrative user ID, where that user ID is involved, we don't know. Then that has to be identified. Getting my point?
Yes, sir.
So identification of impacted configuration items is a key factor while performing a change, and identifying the dependencies. Getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions? Hello.
No, sir.
No? Confirmed? Okay. As a sample template. Okay. Sample template. Description of the change. Is it a maintenance or a break fix? What is the reason? Location, duration of downtime, date, start time, end time, details, activity, business impact. Okay. Or during this downtime, you will not be able to access some so-and-so services. Okay. This kind of communication should happen on a regular basis for all changes. Okay. This is just a template. Workflow, very high level. change initiation, authorization, planning, approval. Now, approval can be a pre-approved change, a normal change, or an emergency change, right? So all have the different levels of approvals. Then you test and evaluate, you implement, verify and review. Okay, and then close it, obviously. So that's the very high-level workflow of a change. What are the key performance indicators for change? Successful changes. Okay, change should not be more. I mean, key performance successful changes should be increased, whereas emergency changes should be decreased. Time to plan should be a standard one. It should not be like we are planning a small change for like 5 days, 7 days, 10 days. No. Time to plan should be minimal. Okay. Time to approve should also be tracked. If the change is not being approved for more than 48 hours, you reject the change. Simple. Don't change it anything. Okay. Backlog of changes. Backlog of change means changes that were supposed to be are still in progress. They are not implemented yet. Why? Or approved, or verified, or tested in any stage of the change. If it is not completed, it is a backlog. Okay. The number of service impacting changes, meaning any change that are of failed category, that should be reduced as much as possible. And we have to identify why these changes have failed. It's a part of PIR study. PIR is nothing but post-implementation review. Okay. Any questions? अरे बोलो भाई. Hello.
No sir. No.
कोई question नहीं है? No questions? You understand change management thoroughly?
Yes sir.
There are many things that are not there in the slide. Okay.
Nilesh Kishore,
Sure.
do we have a rollback plan?
Yes, I will share the rollback plan template as well. Part of the, I'll share, it's a part of ECR form. I'll share the rollback form as well. That what are the changes you are doing, it should be rolled back. What is the rollback plan? Means you take an AMI, right? That's nothing but your rollback plan when you're doing when you want to change on an EC2. So it can change. Rollback plan is based or dependent upon the infrastructure unit you are going to perform changes on. Take a backup of existing configuration of a script or a script. Hello.
Okay.
Right. So if in case the change fails, how are you going to restore it? That's nothing but your rollback plan.
Okay.
So take the backup of existing configuration, whatever it is, then restore it back from that. That's how the rollback plan works out. Okay.
Okay.
Any other thing?
So one more thing. In rollback plan, if we increase the volume, we can't revert back, right?
Exactly. But what's the impact?
So they have to pay for that volume, how much we have
You have to
increased.
understand that, right? So that is not a change. That's not a change impact. That's a stupidity. That's a human error. You have to verify doing it while doing it. Okay. If you have to increase 5 GB, you increase 5 GB. You don't increase 50 GB. Verify it before you click submit.
Yes.
And shrinkage. We have done shrinkage in our previous projects. Kishore and Praveen and all are fully aware about it. We have done shrinkage, although it is a very lengthy process and it has chances of errors, but it can be done. All you have to do is copy that existing data in another drive, attach it, and then remove it and rename it. Simple. Right? It's a lengthy process though, and it requires downtime. Right, Kishore?
Yes, Nilesh.
Praveen, Kishore, you guys have done it, right?
Yes, we
Yes,
have.
sir.
It's like
So it can be rolled back, yes, but it's a lengthy process and it has a high risk.
We can, but it is risky and complicated.
Correct. You have to copy the entire data in another drive, attach it again, remove the old drive, rename the existing drive as the other drive, and then reboot the server, right?
Yes, right.
That's what is required. So it's a lengthy process and it has a high risk.
Therefore, we are not recommending shrinking volumes to clients.
Exactly. Shrinkage is not the right approach. Be very clear when you are performing these activities, terminating, adding, because nowadays it's with cloud, it has become even more difficult to control. In my older days, when I had a physical infrastructure disk in my hand. It cannot go beyond 10 GB. I know it. And customer has asked for 5 GB, so I cannot give him 5 GB. I have a 10 GB disk. I can only give him 10 GB disk. Okay. So that's how in olden days it used to be. Nowadays with cloud, it has become very easy. With a click of buttons, you can get it. In those days, it used to be a hardware centric, right? Anyways, any other question?
Hi Nilesh. I explained previously there will be a revenue leakage. Client keep on asking you the change request instead of projects. So how to identify that one and how we need to respond to that?
See, any request any change request that takes up more than 24 hours to implement, okay, is definitely a project. It cannot be a change request. Okay, that's a baseline. Take it as a baseline. Any project, any change request that takes more than 8 hours of design and implementation, then that's definitely a change request. It's definitely a project. It cannot be a change request.
Like, is it possible? Can we in one project there might be 4 to 5 change requests. If we combine all of them, it will be a one project. If like for 1 month the customer keep on asking one change request.
Right. See, customer. One moment. See, customer can ask for anything as far as projects are concerned, but it doesn't matter that. One moment. Ravi sir, I'm in a training. I'll call you back. I'll call you back. See, in a project, there can be multiple change requests. Agreed. Okay. In terms of whenever you are performing any change, are these changes linked to each other? Okay. That's where the documentation comes into place. For any change request, ask them to fill up a CR form. Okay. They want to do it as a CR, na? Ask them to fill up a CR form. Let the customer fill in the CR form. Okay. He will come to know that he cannot go beyond some certain extent. The CR form has a typical statement that anything that goes beyond 8 hours or beyond 5 hours of implementation time cannot be taken up as a CR. Please take it up as a project. Contact the account manager, contact the sales. Khatamba.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. That's where the revenue leakage comes in. CR is for general changes. It cannot be taken up as a as a free activity. It's a free activity, free of cost activity. The change resources are separate and service support resources are separate. In an ideal scenario. Okay. Support team will not work on changes. In an ideal world, both are two different teams.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. What else? Hello. Hello. Am I audible?
Yeah. Yes.
What help do you need from me in order to understand this change management properly? Because this is a very important change, very important, part of change management, part of service management life cycle. Any organization you go, if you are not thorough on change management, you will face challenges. You will face challenges big time. Big time. Okay? So understand what you're doing, why you're doing, and what is the impact of it, and how it is going to positively or negatively impact or help customer. And you are adding value to the customer when you are performing these things. So trust me, customer will not say no to it. Any customer will not say no to it. Name it. Okay? Contact your program managers for your changes. Let them know. They also have to get up to the speed on setting up the right practices for change management. They also have to understand it. And I'm there to help you out, guys. Anything you need, please come back to me. Okay? Any questions? Done? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Done, na?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Chalo. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.